In the plays of the ancient Greeks, one of the most important but often understated roles was that of the chorus. A group of performers who speak in a singular voice, the chorus's job is to comment on the action of a comedy or tragedy, usually with the intent of providing some insight on the events of the plot, refreshing the audience's memory about what has happened so far, or just serving up some much-needed laughter after a particularly intense moment. The days of Sophocles and Euripides are long gone, but in many major works of fiction, the chorus, in some way, shape, or form, remains. Like so much else, we haven't eliminated the role. We've merely adopted it, molded it into a form that suits the needs of modern audiences. Many musicals have an ensemble, a collection of backup dancers and vocalists who support the stars of the show, and whose lines serve as neutral, digestible commentary on key characters and important events. What are they if not an extrapolation of the Greek chorus? Some of the most popular films of all time have their own version of a chorus. For you Star Wars fans out there, I think you could argue that the first 3 movies, Episode 4, 5, and 6, use R2-D2 and C-3PO in a similar manner, to provide some humor and insight on an audience mesmerized by the noun soup, world building, and MacGuffins of a galaxy far, far away. In Night in the Woods, the chorus is the cheesy duo of Garbo and Malloy. A pair of late-night talk show hosts, Garbo and Malloy mix old-school humor and dad jokes with important world building, all while supporting the game's main plot through poignant allusions and foreshadowing upcoming events. But before I go on, if you are a Night in the Woods fan, then please be sure to like, subscribe, and consider supporting me with the YouTube channel membership or over on Patreon. My dream is to make these videos full-time someday, and by doing any of those things, you'll be helping make that dream a reality. We tend to associate Garbo and Malloy with May's dad, and with good reason. He watches their show every night, and it's how we, as players, get to see the vast majority of their segments. So it's easy to forget that May actually sees them for the first time at the very beginning of the game. They're on the TV here, in the bus station. As I see it, this is all part of an effort to do some early world building on the part of the developers. The world of Night in the Woods is very much a mirror image of our own. There are cars, the internet exists, the Great Depression happened, and it looks like World War II probably happened as well. But there's still so much about the setting that's unique, like its religions, its holidays, and its mythology. And Possum Springs is just one corner of this alternate universe. So it's important to not only build up the world at large, but this small town in the Rust Belt in particular. So what does the fact that Garbo and Malloy are on the TV in the bus station tell us about Possum Springs? Well, it tells us that at its core, it's an old man town. Look, guys, I love me some Garbo and Malloy, but let's be honest, it's a show for boomers. Everything from its cheesy humor to its variety show format, and the fact that it features a classic serious guy, goofy guy comedy duo tells us that it's really just a 21st century rendition of programs that were all the rage back in the 40s and 50s. They're basically Abbott and Costello, just for a modern audience. All of this is also incredibly on brand for the Pittsburgh area. Longtime subscribers of this channel surely know all about my affinity for the Steel City by now. But even as a guy who misses its hills and bridges every single day, I have to admit that it's a place with an old soul, and that the same is true for most of Western Pennsylvania. Seriously, good luck trying to do anything after 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening, even if the Steelers are playing in prime time. But back to Night in the Woods. By placing Garbo and Malloy on the TV in the bus station, the developers are already priming us for one of the major plot points of the game. That Possum Springs is an archaic town stuck in the past, and struggling to embrace modernity. We've yet to meet the murderous uncles, see the dilapidated glass factory, or the abandoned food donkey. But the sight of these two old-school comedians is certainly an early hint of what's to come. And for the rest of the game, that's essentially what Garbo and Malloy do. provide hints of what's to come. For example, at one point, in one of their closing segments, they say that coming up, they'll be joining a cult. This happens pretty early in the game, and just like a line from a Greek chorus, it coalesces with Greg's remark about a murder cult, and signals to the audience to pay attention and look for hints about such an organization lurking in the shadows. In another closing segment, they make a comment about going to therapy, and while it's a far more broad statement than saying they're joining a cult, Night in the Woods obviously places a serious focus on mental health, especially in the days following this segment, when May deals with Greg's struggles and B's economic hardships. And in their final broadcast, they talk about religion, the afterlife, and contacting the dead. These are more minor topics in the grand scheme of things, but they do still come up. Religion is a major piece of what makes the culture of this alternate universe so unique. You could make the argument that the Deep Hollow Hollowers have entered into a sort of afterlife. And May's grandfather does show up to visit her as a ghost in the library. So, in ways both big and small, Garbo and Malloy help establish the setting of Possum Springs and the greater world around it. Like a Greek chorus, they comment on the events of the plot and provide a hint of what's to come. And though they might only be a small piece of this game, that's what makes Garbo and Malloy so important to Night in the Woods. Now, before I roll out, I'd like to give a bit of an update on this series of videos, my character commentary series for Night in the Woods. I started it way back in March 2023 with an entry on Greg, and now, as 2025 approaches, there are just 3 more videos left to go. Next up, it'll be a combination video focusing on 2 characters May went to high school with, who stand out for very different reasons, Cole and Steve Scriggins. After that, we'll be taking a look at Danny, whose story of economic hardship bookends the events of the game, and serves as something of a complementary arc to the central narrative. And then, to finish it all off, I've saved the best for last, an epic on our incredible protagonist herself, May Borowski. Thanks for watching. Huge thanks to Wolf.Godwin and Jordi, Jaen, Moreno for providing the music for these videos and the art for my channel. To check out both of these amazing creators, just follow the links down below in the description box. Big shout out to all my silver and gold tier YouTube channel members and Patreon subscribers, including James Pruitt, Corey Matson, Gustavo Balabi, Lil Caesar, Reed, Pathonian, and Faith G, who get early access to these videos thanks to donations of $5 to $10 a month. See you guys next time.